Hey everybody, I am Stephanie Feld and this is your 5-minute EMDR refresher. So this is a question that came up in consultation group this morning, and I think it's a really good question that many EMDR therapists can relate to. And so the question was, I have a client who's reporting that when you're looking at the cognition or the negative belief about themselves, they're saying, well, I don't believe that. I know in my head that that's not true. And so they're rating that it's like all resolved and all taken care of. And yet there's some distress that there is, it's just something I used to believe. And so where do you go with that? Does that just mean you're done and you just kind of like say, oh, okay, great. Or is there like some type of language that you can use to help them access or get even further relief or unburdening from that? So what I would say is, just first off, sometimes this is enough for clients. I just clarify, like, so when we're talking about rating the validity of the cognition, we're not talking about what you know in your head, because there's lots of things we know in our head. But when push comes to shove, our head is not the one that's coming up in those difficult moments. It's that like really deep down, like in your gut, you know, like in those moments when those beliefs come out and you just feel like, whoa, you just feel really bad or really chaotic and out of control. In that place, how true does it feel to you? And sometimes that distinction of like, you can believe something up here, but there's a different place where you know something, but like maybe you don't want it to be true, or part of you knows it's not true, but not your whole self or your whole system. So for some people, that you can keep moving forward with that. Sometimes I'll take it a little bit further, which is to say, let's take a moment and focus in on the part of yourself that does hold that belief of, you know, I'm bad, or I'm not good enough, or whatever the cognition is, I'm not safe. Let's focus in on that part that holds it or has held it, whatever they're able to access. And you can do a little bit of imagery like, I'm curious about that part. If you had to imagine it, what would it look like? Is it you can do kind of like abstract, like a color or a texture or a temperature, or you can be really specific, like, is it you at a specific age or a specific time of life? When did that part learn that is true? What you can just dive into some parts where you can really get to know it and zero in, and then that's the way that you can help to kind of unburden it from that belief. So understanding, when did that part become to believe this? How does this belief help or protect that part? Is there anything about this belief that it doesn't like? You know, it probably offers some things that help, and probably maybe not some things that help. And then does it like the belief, or would it like to let go of the belief? What would it be like if it didn't believe that anymore? So there's some kind of like nuanced like ego parts or IFS-informed strategies that you can use. And that way you're not just talking about like the client as a whole, do they believe something, but you can really narrow in and focus on that discrete piece of them and piece of their system. And that just really frees up people to be able to say things a lot more that maybe they wouldn't have access to if they were just speaking from their head or even from their like full self. So I hope that is helpful. I invite you, if you have any other questions or comments, maybe strategies that you've used or your consultants have shared with you, or you share with your consultees, feel free to comment down below. And if you like these kind of 5-minute moments, I invite you to subscribe, follow along, submit a question. I just love this beautiful community of people, and that we are doing that bilateral learning. We give and receive to each other. So lots of love and take good care.